What is up, everybody? It is Survivor Wednesday here on AfterBuzz TV for season 37, episode 12. Oh my God. So smart, they're dumb. You guys, one of our favorite Survivor players ever barely survived himself tonight, and we have the loved ones visit, so stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
I almost said it was episode 7 there. I got a little confused. You guys, the season is moving so fast. It's already episode 12.
I can't believe it, honestly.
So we have 2 weeks left. I mean, a few episodes, but 2 weeks left until the finale. And it's getting crazier and crazier by the week. We have 7 survivors left tonight.
I think that's the thing that makes it kind of hard to believe that we only have 2 episodes, because it's we have 7 survivors left, but I always remember that they
group it in.
They stack up that last episode every
Oh my God. Well, we are so excited to talk with you guys tonight about season 37, episode 12. So smart, they're dumb. You guys, I'm your host, Paige Bonanno. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Make sure to give us a like and subscribe on our YouTube channels, and subscribe to us on iTunes. And who are you guys, and where can they find you?
Hey guys, I'm Veronica, Valencia. So happy to be back for Survivor Wednesday.
Woohoo!
Guys, what's up? Mike Thieling here. I am pumped. This episode delivered real quick before we start.
Yes.
Special shout out to fan of the show, Andre, who DM'd me on Instagram last week's episode wanting my term paper from college.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I don't have it anymore, but
You guys pay good attention.
appreciate that.
And Timothy Mike isn't here today because we decided that we voted him off. No, I'm just kidding.
unanimous.
It was
It's a
unanimous vote.
unanimous
Sorry.
Blindside.
Bye, Timothy. I know you're probably watching this. No, we are kidding. He will be back next week. We know you guys love him, and we're so excited to be here tonight.
Oh,
so,
this
episode
is amazing.
Episode 12, overall thoughts?
Amazing.
Yes.
I mean, it's tough coming off a double episode week because that's so much good content.
Right.
You love watching Survivor. But I'm telling you, every episode is delivering this season.
It's just delicious.
Ooh, I like that word. No, I thought it was a great episode, but I was filled, honestly, with so much frustration from contestants.
In a good way.
In a good way, because it was a good episode, but I had a lot of frustration. I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yeah, I did too. I totally agree with that. We will get into that. You guys in the live chat, keep your comments coming. We want to incorporate it into our show. But I guess we'll start right from the beginning then. So it's night 30. There's 8 people left at this point. Nick, we see right away, is very upset by the vote last week. He feels like Christian left him out of this vote, and it was not the time to give away the majority. And I understand him because he saved Christian before. He played as idol for him. I mean, do you guys think Nick's maybe being a little overdramatic by saying, oh, the Mason-Dixon's dead, won't hesitate to blindside him? I mean, we see that he did try to blindside him tonight, but what did you guys feel about the whole Nick dynamic with how he felt from last week's vote?
I think it was completely understandable because you're right, Paige. He did save Christian's butt twice. He gave up advantages for Christian. And I think at the very least, we understand why Christian didn't tell him because it's a blindside and Nick could have very well saved Carl. But it does it makes sense for Nick to be hurt to the fact that, oh, we're supposed to be trusting each other and you couldn't at the very least tell me. So I think him being upset is completely valid.
Yeah.
I agree. However, one thing that I'd love to point out is Survivor is fluid. So yes, he is betrayed by the blind side, but I would not be quick at all to just cut Christian out immediately. So many, at this point, especially with 8 people left, alliances are switching day-to-day basis. So I wouldn't do a hard cutout of Christian. I would go and talk to him and find out what's the rationale, and at least to him, you really got to be outwardly like cool with it.
I agree with that. And like right when, afterwards, your emotions are still raw, right? When you come back from tribal and it's late, like Nick seemed very upset with it. Christian was trying to justify it to him. But then it seems like they didn't really talk until a few days later when Christian felt like he had to save his butt. So then he went back to Nick and said, hey, here's what happened. Like, I didn't want to make you feel that way. If I was, Nick and Christian, I would still play it as in, I feel Christian was at the beginning saying, like, it's okay, it's all good, but, like, Nick maybe shouldn't try to cut the cord so quick. You still got to play your alliances, and you still always got to be on top of it. I mean, I don't think that this is necessarily the end for him, even though Nick voted for Christian tonight.
We're gonna get to that at the end, I'm sure. But what happens next episode? We saw in the preview. It's just chaos.
Wow. Everybody wants to vote for everybody.
Everything's everything. Yeah.
You know what? I mentioned this when we watched that though, but like Kara has been so under the radar. Has she gotten a vote for her?
Seriously,
I don't think so.
I don't
or
think
if so, it was one episode.
It's a one-off.
But she's hiding behind everybody right now. She's strong as hell. She won immunity. I mean, obviously they couldn't vote her out tonight, but like nobody has been talking about Kara.
No.
I think she has the potential to make it to the final
She's
three.
playing a great game.
Yeah.
I think she has the potential to make it to the final 3. I don't know if she could necessarily win.
I don't know if she would win against like Nick. I think she could maybe win against Davey. I don't know.
You're not winning against Christian.
You're not winning
You're
against
not
Christian.
winning
Which
against
is
Christian.
essentially the main point of this whole episode.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Right.
everybody knows that you can't win against Christian, and like we as viewers hate to see that people are voting for him and that he could potentially go. But when you're on the episode, I mean, like when
Yeah.
you're on the cast, you gotta realize
yeah.
this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, if I was on the island, I'd want him off so fast.
So
Absolutely.
freaking fast,
Yeah.
so fast. But anyways, moving forward, I mean, reward tonight, it was the family reward, and this is like my favorite episode because I was crying for like 15 minutes.
You were crying.
Yeah.
Crying. You guys,
But to your credit, you warned us.
I said I'm gonna cry. And what did you say about how you feel about a loved one's visit?
Oh, it's very interesting.
I feel like a monster. I'm an only child. I am very comfortable by myself, and I always think, they've only been out there 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
I go really long times without talking to my parents. I don't know. I feel like if I was there and my parents came, I wouldn't break down so hard.
Yeah.
Point being, however, I understand you're under a lot of stress. You're starving. There's a lot of emotional and physical toll going on.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I'm always like, it's crazy. I feel like it's been a few weeks and they're just like,
Oh, I feel like I would be a mess, especially because like when you're out there, it's like it's only been a couple days, but like it's like 24 hours of just like sitting there doing nothing and
It's
like not
constant.
having a
It's
phone,
constant.
Yeah.
not being able to talk to anybody. Like I would be a mess. And we were wondering, you said that like they got like, we were like, do they just pick someone or do they give them a list? Like they have a list of like people they could potentially choose from.
Right.
Like who would you guys put on your list of like, or who would be like your top 3 of people you would want to come
My parents.
in the order of who you want them in?
I have some die-hard Survivor friends, so I would put my wife first,
Okay.
and then I'd probably put some of the die-hard fans
Sure.
after that because I want to see my wife, point blank,
Yeah.
but if for whatever reason she can't come, then I want someone who's going to kill the challenge
But you know
because a
what?
lot of them are joint challenges
was going
with
to-
your people.
I was going to ask.
Some of them.
This particular loved one challenge, they were in pairs, but they
Right.
weren't in pairs with their loved one. And
Right.
I'm just curious, do you prefer when they do the challenge by themselves, or do you prefer it when they do the challenge with their loved one?
With the loved
I
one.
like it when they do it with her loved one, but I also like it when they do it with someone else that's been playing in this game for a while because then it's like you don't want to like have to blame or like feel bad about like if you're like the loved one coming and you mess it up for the person,
Yeah.
you're like shoot.
No.
But at least they get to play. They come out there all the way
Exactly,
to Fiji.
It's a memory.
I
It's
want
an
to be
experience.
rooting for
Yeah.
like the 75-year-old mom to try to throw the ball. Like, and
Right.
I'm like, yeah, like come on, Janet.
But you know what's so funny about you?
I love it.
What's so funny about you is when we were out there, you said, "Oh, you know what's so funny is when someone random comes on, like this is his high school basketball coach, this is his like great aunt Mary," and you're like, "I would just pick a random friend." That like, you would be that guy. You would
I would be that guy, but I feel like I have strategy behind it.
Yes.
And when you see these randoms, it's not very strategic because it's some seasons have been like,
Yeah.
here's your wife, here's your boyfriend, your
Right.
girlfriend, and then it's your second aunt. It's like what? Like,
Yeah.
Speaking of girlfriend, can we just talk about America's Sweetheart on the
Come
show
on.
and how his loved one was his girlfriend, which kind of took all of us by surprise. We were like, wow.
everybody was
What?
like his girlfriend.
Well, he never talked about having a girlfriend
Never.
that we saw as viewers.
Right, and I guarantee you the show was editing it that way to have a
Perfect.
big surprise, and
We-
it worked.
It
Good
was-
job, CBS.
We freaked
Wow.
out, and we were like, "Ooh, Gabby might be a little jealous,"
Big
like joking
time
around. But
jealous.
yeah,
Come
like,
on.
Yeah.
come on. So, anyways, most people had their moms. Davey had his mom. Allison had his mom. Gabby had her mom. Angelina had her mom, and then Mike had his boyfriend. Which,
Yeah.
so, we don't know if he's gay or straight. Like, it never really came up on the episode, which was really cool to see his boyfriend come up. It was great. I
Yeah.
loved it. His boyfriend's super handsome.
I know.
And then we saw Kara's brother, and then Nick's dad, and then Christian's girlfriend.
Christian's girlfriend.
This
It was
was
great.
so sweet, you guys. I loved it.
And they were so perfect.
Yeah.
I
They
love that she
were.
was like crazy shy. I don't think she even said a word.
Yeah.
Did she on the
No.
episode?
I don't think
And
so,
he
no.
just started blabbering and being blubbery and like all into
And at
so
the
great.
beginning, it was so funny, like seeing them interact because like they didn't hug right away. They were just like, "Oh my god, it's so good to see you." And then it was like when she left, it really hit him.
And then he had his little speech of like, we see each other and we take each other for granted because we see each other every day. But it's that moment that you leave, that you
Yeah.
realize what you have or what you're
Right.
losing, and that broke me.
It
you
is-
were crying. You were crying from the
Oh.
very beginning, Paige. I was
Yeah.
like, that speech is what broke me. Usually, I can handle the loved
It
ones
is
visit pretty
so-
well.
I'm sorry. It is so
Mm-hmm.
cute, but I guarantee he's giving that speech. Everybody else behind him are like, I cannot beat Chris. Christian.
Yes.
Oh my
And then
God.
they see his cute little
How do
girlfriend
we get
come out.
all? And then it was like,
man.
what?
It's over. It's
Yeah.
over.
They knew it.
They knew it right then and there. Anyways, they were divided into pairs, and they were going to a barbecue on the barge. Ooh. But my question was, do you guys think this was a random draw or chosen? Because we saw, like, Gabby and Christian were together. We saw Kara and Allison were together. Like, at first I was like, it's probably a random draw. And then I was thinking, this might not be a random draw.
That's a great. I don't think we knew. I think it is random.
I don't
because
know.
if
The
not,
pair
then-
seemed very, like...
The pairs would end up together, at least very much in the eyes of Gabby and Christian.
Right.
I feel like they would have made a big deal out of it. The two who weren't picked by anybody, though. If it was a schoolyard
Right,
pick or
right,
something.
right.
I mean, not schoolyard, but if they were
And
pairing themselves.
yeah, we only have 8 left, so maybe it was just random like that. But surprisingly, Nick and Angelina came out on top. They won after not really being in it the whole time.
Right.
And then they get to pick 2 people. Nick says that he picks Davey because they had this agreement from a while back, and Angelina was okay with that. And then Angelina picks Mike.
Right.
What did you guys think about those choices?
Davey and Nick choosing Davey, I understood. They're such a tight pair. And then Angelina choosing Mike, I feel like it's just her because she was like, this person has been with me, kind of blah, 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 blah. I feel like Mike is the person that maybe backstabbed her the least.
Yeah,
So they were on the same side for the Carl vote.
Right.
Right? So
I knew she wasn't going to pick Kara because they've got into it before about votes.
Yeah.
Like, I was trying to, like, whittle it down. But you could see on some people's faces, like, Gabby knew she wasn't being picked. Like, Allison was, like, pleading for it, but we knew she wasn't getting picked. It was kind of like you can kind of tell who's it going to be. But
guys,
yeah.
we just skipped over a major plot point, by the way.
What did we skip?
Angelina straight up bragged to her mom
Oh my gosh.
in front of everybody that she sacrificed something for the rice. Again, if I'm on the back line of all the survivors, I'm like, are you kidding me?
Also,
We
like-
gotta get her out now.
Like, no context. She was just like, Mom, I got everybody rice
yeah,
yesterday.
by the way,
By the
what?
way. And she was like,
I
this is the
negotiated.
woman you raised me to be. Well, I just, like, spit on you from across the table. I'm so passionate about this. But no, and I have that written down, too. Like, tells her
What
about
are you
rice, LOL.
doing? Things not to do if you get on Survivor. I feel like we've been putting on a clinic here this week and last week.
Right.
A lot of good tips. Do not brag about good stuff that you do until the final episode and make it really well done.
Okay, but props to Angelina because she kept herself way under the radar this episode
that's true.
compared to how she has been the last few.
Here's
That's
the
true.
thing. Even if she's... this episode, she was flying under the radar, but I feel if even she's coming, like, getting on people's nerves, I feel like people still don't see her as a threat.
She might very well make it to the end at this point.
She will. I should say she will.
Yeah.
She very well might be, like you were saying, Paige.
Yeah.
And not only that, but she is she speaks very well.
Yeah. Just take a look up on the screen for a second. We have a quick message for you guys that we wanted to share from our sponsors.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, Survivor fans, we're talking about great moments, and there have been some really fun Survivor moments this season, such as one was Angelina, who we were just talking about. Pleading to have Lursa's jacket. Well, lucky for us here on the panel and for all of you out there, we can have as many jackets as we want by shopping millions of closets across America. Now, Paige and Mike, you know we're hosts, and so we have to be on camera, and I'm sure like we would love to amp up our wardrobe a little bit, especially if we are on shows quite frequently. But instead of like buying something new, wouldn't you just prefer to get something fast and cheap?
Yeah, cheaper definitely than going to the store and buying a bunch of stuff.
Exactly, and especially with the holidays coming around, you do not even want to deal with a mall right now. And so yeah, why get something full price when you can get an amazing deal when you're looking for something on Poshmark, everybody?
Poshmark.
Love it.
Now, not only are the deals great, and not only can you buy, but you also have the option to sell. Paige, I know you were saying you've sold on Poshmark.
Yeah, actually, I quite frequently sell on Poshmark, and I just sold something yesterday, actually. So when we got this, I was like, oh my God, I love Poshmark. I've probably sold like at least definitely over $100 worth of clothes on Poshmark before. And like normally after weddings or something, like you get a dress like to wear to a wedding, and then I have no need for it anymore. I'm not going to wear it to a wedding again and take another picture in it. Of course, millennials, no. But you know how we are with our clothes. And so I'm like, I don't want to like let this go to waste. So where can I like get some money for it and make somebody else happy with my wardrobe? So I've sold multiple dresses after weddings on Poshmark. It's an amazing outlet to do that for. And you can make money very easily. It's super easy. You just throw it in the mail. They give you a prepaid label. It's good to go.
Shout out to Paige's buyers.
Yeah, dude. Shout out to my buyers. buyers. You guys, I still have some stuff listed. So
Yeah.
let's
Get on it.
But I mean, I also have been meaning to want to sell on Poshmark. Like, I made the account and everything, and now that I've heard your experience, I'm definitely gonna get on that bandwagon and start trying to sell, and also just take a look around. And to get started with that, what I can do and what you can do as well is download the Poshmark app and start shopping tons of brands: Nike, Adidas, American Apparel, Tory Burch, Victoria's Secret, everything you could literally think of and more for all women's, men's, and children's fashion, because Poshmark has it all. I'm talking jewelry, shoes, bags, you name it, making Poshmark the easiest way to shop and sell fashion items. And of course, in the spirit of the holidays, you, the listeners of AfterBuzz, get $5 off your first purchase. Just enter the invite code AfterBuzz when you sign up. That's invite code AfterBuzz.
That's a good deal because
That is nice.
a lot of stuff is pretty affordable, so that's a good code. So anyways, Poshmark, you guys hit it up. And moving along in our episodes, so basically, okay, we have the 4 that go on reward. We have Nick, Angelina, Davey, and Mike. Everyone is saying, I feel like this always happens when they go on reward. They're like, this is my ideal Final 4.
Absolutely.
This is it. I'm like,
You have
guys
to.
always-
You
yeah.
have to.
Say that in the
You have to say
moment.
it.
Right. So anyways, everybody's saying it's ideal for them, except Davey is a little skeptical. He's basically saying that because he wasn't on the Givenchy tribe to begin with, it's not smart for him. What do you guys think about Davey's kind of like skepticism about that group? Do you think that this is the group that could potentially take him to the end, or that he might need to kind of branch out?
I had a gut feeling that they were sincere, but I think Davey, classic Survivor, to on a front say, yeah, absolutely, this is my Final 4, but really be thinking about what he actually wants. I like that.
Yeah.
I feel like at this point in Survivor, what you were saying, Mike, you want to play along as if you do agree, but I feel like it can be risky to solidify and say, yes, I am part of your alliance, because who knows? You might want to pull a Christian and go with another alliance, and then that's going to create all this other drama.
Look, all these people are smart. They've all watched Survivor before. You know these Final 4 deals, they never work out.
No.
They especially when there's 8 people
Come
left.
on.
You have to say that if you go on a reward with 4 people, like, wow, this is exactly
this
who
is
I
it.
wanted, and wow, isn't it just so great? They're all
Right.
going to end up together. Come on.
Yeah, and then it's like back at camp, they're obviously making strategies.
Yeah.
And Gabby's one right away. She goes out and admits that she's basically jealous about the girlfriend situation because of the fact that she's like, you know what, Christian is a comforter. He was comforting his girlfriend out there, of course. But back at camp, he's always comforting me. Like, that's the role he's playing.
Okay,
This made
here we
no
go.
sense.
Here we go. Yes, Mike, it made absolutely no sense. And
God.
going back to the frustration, let's rewind a little bit. I had a little bit of frustration with Nick because I felt that he was cutting ties with Christian very closely. And I was like, Nick, don't do that just yet. Yeah, I understand you're upset, but come on, like, don't play with your feelings so much, because that can be very dangerous.
Sure.
But then this whole situation with Gabby was so frustrating to me because I felt like she just flipped on Christian
On a
like
dime.
a light switch and was like hating him all of a sudden, not really realizing he doesn't have to comfort her like he's been doing.
He hasn't been doing that for everybody. Like, yeah, he's like very much a nice person to people, but he says that all of his game is comforting Gabby.
I didn't get any of it at all. Like, just because you're comforting your girlfriend who comes on the thing, then all of a sudden you're automatically playing her. Like, that makes
does that
absolutely no
mean?
sense. I couldn't believe how she just flipped, like you guys said, on a dime. It was so strange and seemingly to me out of character because, guys, if we remember, she was a wreck the first couple episodes. She would not be, honestly, I have a strong suspicion that she might have self-quit.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Christian.
She very well could have, especially with all the rain and the tsunamis and stuff they were going through.
Was
Would she have made
damaged.
that?
No.
Oh my God. I know. I totally agree with that. And also, like, she's like, well, you know what? Christian's the one being perceived of making all the moves. He is.
He is.
She's like, everybody sees me as Christian's sidekick.
You
She
are
is.
Like, yes, Gabby, like all the
Missed
things
that.
that you're saying about yourself. All the things that you're saying about yourself are true. Like, nobody else is putting these labels on you, and you're saying them, and it is true. Like,
So why? So here's the question: why do you backstab Christian instead of going to him and saying, "Look, this is what we should like"? Take some initiative, so you can still have the story in your Survivor bio, but not stab in the back one of your closest, the closest alliance you have.
And we see
when
it
there's still so many people left.
it obviously backfired on her.
It did.
But I also think it's funny, like, when they were kind of showing, like, her little bit of a jealousy, like, the music was like, dun, dun, dun. And she's like,
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Her
looking over,
face.
like,
It was a fun edit.
daggers staring.
Daggers, like, we're like, she's jealous. She's a little jealous after all
yeah.
that they've been through.
And here's the thing, is like we kind of saw this a couple episodes ago with Kara and Dan. Kara wanted to be able to play her own game. She didn't want to ride Dan's coattail and feel
That's
like she
right.
was playing Dan's game. And I get the idea of, you know, if you're if you are a part of a pair, you want to break off because you want to be known for playing your own game. And so I get that with Gabby, but I was just very frustrated with the way that she did it because I feel like in that moment she completely disregarded everything Christian had done for her up until this point.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
That's really fascinating because this might lend some more insight to us to the editing of the show. Because the reason why they were such a terrible twosome was because they were seen potentially as being, well, they were like romantically involved, right? And the other casts probably knew that. But they probably also knew that we didn't know that Christian had a girlfriend.
Right.
So not as much of a threat maybe as a couple, him and Gabby.
That's true. That's very true. Because right from the get-go, I'm sure right away he's like, yeah, I have a girlfriend. Like they're all talking about their relationship.
Yeah.
Right.
But the thing about Gabby that really makes me upset when we're talking about this is like, okay, she's basically saying, oh, you know what? Like, hey, I want to get Christian out. I want to get Christian out. And she's like, guess who's getting all the credit? And she's going around and telling this to the other survivors. She's saying, well, you know what? I need to get Christian out because guess who's getting all the credit for our work? Don't make it about you. Make it about the team. Why it's better to get Christian out as a team and as a tribe. Like, she makes it about herself. Like, this is good for my game, and you guys all need to go along with it. You know what I mean?
But doesn't that also make her a terrible alliance member to everybody else she's talking to? Because like, okay, if I'm going to work with you and I do a little bit too much of the work or I come up with the idea, then you want to cut me right away because you didn't come up with it.
Exactly. And Kara was kind of saying, you know, I've been the one that's wanted to get out Christian this whole time. Like, I don't know. It's just very... And also, Gabby just seems like a bad liar. I feel like she can't really lie to Christian. We kind of saw that their relationship just had a riff in it, like, this whole episode. And I think it's because Gabby can't, like, differentiate between, like, just lying to him or, you know, I don't know. It seems something was weird to me.
We've seen her have tiny little blow-ups in past episodes, too.
Yeah.
Like, out of nowhere, she just gets real spunky and usually says it to Christian, and he usually calms her down and then executes on a plan.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But also Gabby, I think, made a good point about how she had said, like, this was probably her, like, one good point, I felt like, tonight when she's like, you know what, Christian is playing the game for Christian to win. So, like, Christian doesn't want me to win. Christian wants Christian to win. Like, I need to do that because I want Gabby to win. And I'm like, yes. Like that makes sense.
Welcome to Survivor.
It is a good point. But, yes, welcome to Survivor.
Who there is playing for anybody else but themselves and their families? Like,
but Gabby thinks that Christian, like, she thinks, I don't know. The way that she kind of comprehends things is just a little strange to me.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Maybe in that moment she was like, oh, maybe Christian won't take me to the final two. Or something. Or
Christian would take her to the final three. She would get to the final three, but she knows she can't win.
There's no way she wins.
But do you think that she would win against Nick?
No.
I don't think she can win against anybody unless, well, obviously not now, but if she had stayed around, unless she dramatically altered her game.
Yeah.
Because she hasn't been doing anything.
And she could be that comeback story, right?
Yeah.
Like I was so timid at the beginning. Like she kind of alluded to at Tribal tonight. Like she could, if she really stepped it up these next couple weeks, like maybe have the potential. But to her point, she has to get Christian out first, and then she has to kind of knock out some of those other bigger threats. But people might take her to the end because they maybe think that she can't win without Christian as a shield.
And as sad as it would have been to see Christian actually go home, that would have been so good for Gabby, because something that I have said, and I know Timothy has said this with me, Gabby has so much potential. She really did, but she just always kind of was in the background.
Yeah.
See, we got a lot in the chat here, especially Sheena talking about Hannah from season 33. And I thought Hannah's game is so much better than what Gabby is doing.
Yeah, and Hannah did make it to the final three, and she made a good case for herself.
Absolutely. I think she played a better game the entire time she was on than Gabby.
And Hannah wasn't like a whiny crybaby. Sorry, that was rude. I didn't mean to say that about Gabby. Gabby, if you're watching, you're a good player. But I think that Hannah's game was different than Gabby. I think that Gabby is much more emotional than Hannah was.
I think Gabby came to Survivor with zero strategy. With zero idea of what she wanted to do.
Hannah or Gabby?
Gabby,
okay.
So, did I say it? Gabby.
Yeah.
I don't think she had an idea of what she wanted to do or how she wanted to go about it.
Yeah.
And season 37, you have to. That worked like 2 and 3 when no one really knew what was going on.
Right.
But now you've got to be ready to go.
Totally. Yeah. Totally agreed. Okay, so moving on to immunity, you guys. Immunity was.
Kind of lost it.
You're on the verge of getting yourself voted out here, too. You're about to join Thieling
It'll be a two-man show next week.
I have a quick message for you, and I was thinking about it.
Paige is going to exile.
I'm out. You guys, I'm out.
Yeah, but she might come back with an immunity at all.
We just wanted to quickly, first of all, thank you guys as our subscribers. We're not done yet, but I just have a quick message. Our network produces after shows for nearly all of your favorite TV shows, and you guys are amazing. We could not do this without you. You know, from dramas, reality, TV, sci-fi, and more, there is no network that works harder to serve television fans than AfterBuzz TV. But we need your guys' help. We're asking that you please, please, please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you guys are worried about pesky notifications, don't be, because they're optional. So just hit that subscribe button for now, this channel, and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. We have tons of them, you guys, and we literally have all your favorite TV shows. So just let us know that you did so in the comments, and we will thank you guys on air. So anyways, for now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk. You guys are amazing.
You know it.
Anyways, moving back to our Wonderful Survivor. So now we're going into immunity, and there is a pole connected to their hand and a water bucket on top.
Man.
So this is tough.
Oh.
I was in pain just watching it. Anything having to do where you have to like use a lot of your shoulders or like be steady, I get sore looking at it.
And
That
also, it's
gets
a
you in the
risky move, like
gym.
anytime you're like moving to like itch something, or like when there's flies on your face. Davey lost because there was a fly on his
That's
face.
the thing that I hate about that stuff. When some random weather or bug
Yeah.
or something like that disrupts it, you have no control over that. That's not your fault.
Yeah, and it's so hot, they're sweating.
Yeah.
They're sweating, and you probably just want to like get it off of you.
Yeah.
like just wipe your hand, like your
Of
face.
course.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about like Angelina giving Nick directions, but then like not reciprocating to other players?
This
I mean,
is
I've never
another-
really seen people like really step in like that to like.
Oh man, this is another classic Survivor
Yeah.
blunder.
Oh, see, I don't know. It frustrated me because despite my frustrations with him, I still like Nick.
Yeah.
And I still want him to get further. And I feel like Angelina doing that really could have messed up his game, because especially, I mean, in this case, Christian made it out in the end, but that definitely could have been a giveaway for Christian. Like, oh, why is she helping Nick, and why is Nick listening, and why is she helping me, and me and Nick are okay?
I think it was a bit of a telltale sign for Christian, because he said, oh, well, how am I doing, you guys? And Gabby's like, we were just helping him because it was running really low. But then when Kara's was running low, they didn't help him or her.
Yeah.
This was 100% transparent. This is a terrible move if you're on the bench and you want Christian to lose, okay? Because in a challenge like this, there's nothing big to gain from doing it. Nick knows he's getting low, right? Like, he's looking, he can see it. It's not like they're giving him any great information that could actually give him an advantage, let alone really hurting the fact that Christian realizes, like, what's going on.
And also,
like,
let Nick win immunity. Let him win it. Like, if he falls, he falls. Like,
Sure.
I don't know. It's just kind of like whoever wins is the person that deserves the immunity. And then if you're like, I get like you want to help some people and not others, I suppose, but I would just keep my mouth shut, because I feel like you're just putting a target on your back by even speaking your voice at that point.
Exactly, because at this point, everyone is still trying to be very secretive. Everyone is still trying to manipulate everybody else. The only time this works is when there's someone very clearly at the bottom, and they know that, and they know that their time is coming, and then everybody else just wants them not to win immunity. That's the only time it works, when it's when the person is very aware. Here, everyone was still very secretive, so the fact that Angelina was trying to help out Nick, could have sabotaged his game, was a very clear sign for Christian.
Absolutely, especially when you know he's got an idol.
Oh my God.
Right? Everybody knows Christian had a hidden immunity idol. So why give him any inkling that anything is going on?
And I think
it's terrible strategy.
Gabby agreed 100%. I think Gabby, of all people, should not have opened her mouth. If she wasn't going to open her mouth for Christian, why would she do it for Nick?
That was the biggest thing, is like, again, does she not realize, like, she could have easily just been playing along with Christian this entire time? Like, it was so night and day with her, of like, oh, Christian's my biggest ally too. I am clearly against Christian. You can tell I am against Christian. And it was so bizarre.
It was like a crazy turn of events.
Guys, when you get onto the island, big tip, just keep your mouth shut.
Yes.
That's the go-to strategy for the majority of the game.
Right.
Just listen.
And then, so when we're back, Gabby's going around telling everybody this plan of hers that she wants to get Christian out. And Davey actually goes and tells Christian. And Christian is floored. And he says basically that he has a hard time believing it, because him and Gabby haven't spent like 1 hour apart since they've been together.
As he should. He should have had a really hard time believing it.
Did we mention that we were very happy Kara won immunity?
Yes, Kara won immunity. Thank you. Very happy that Kara won immunity. She deserved it. She did. Strong, and she was like straight up in there.
She deserved it, but I'm always a little bit disappointed when the winner of immunity kind of doesn't matter.
it, yeah.
Right? It doesn't need it. It doesn't. It's not going to affect what's going on. But
Right.
good for her,
True.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
true.
She's building a resume. To your
She
point, like
is.
she's slipping under the radar and building it up.
And playing really strong.
Because
yeah.
comp wins matter a lot of times at the final.
And I'm glad
trial.
that she won after not getting
Not
her family
necessarily.
visit.
They can. They can help.
It always
What?
depends on your jury. He was saying that competition wins can really matter on your
Yeah.
resume.
They can
Think
help.
about Michelle. Nobody thought she was going to win until she won. Nobody thought she was going to
Yeah.
win.
Yeah. But I mean, what I was saying is like kind of going back to last week where
Mm-hmm.
good favors don't get you anything in this game. Winning competitions don't necessarily get you anything in this game either. We always think about Ken.
Yes.
Always think about Ken.
Ken was my love.
I understand.
Ken was like, what is Ken up to nowadays?
Let us know.
That's what I need to find out. I should know this. Okay. Anyway, so Davey tells Christian about this. What do you guys think about Davey telling Christian about this?
Davey telling Christian about the plan.
That Gabby is against him and Christian not really believing it. Do you think that Davey could have been more intense about, hey, this is happening, you got to figure something out?
Absolutely, I do. Absolutely. He was way too lackadaisical about it, right? So I love the move from a gameplay perspective because in the little foursome that went on the reward challenge, or sorry, the reward, right? He was already in with them. I think they trusted him enough to let him in on kind of on the plan, right? So he has that great information. Really make use of it and really let Christian know, like, no, you are in trouble. Basically, all he said was, you might want to check Gabby, like, kind of be careful. No. Dude, they're voting for you. You gotta trust me. Use the idol. By the way, a lot in the chat about what we were talking about, a hidden idol going back into play after
Right.
it's used. Absolutely. So look, use it.
Yeah.
You'll definitely be safe for these 3 days. You're gonna trust me then after because I'm telling you the truth, and then you and I will go find the next idol together.
But you know what just occurred to me as you're saying this is like, this could have easily backfired on Davey. If Christian would have gone and made a big deal, Christian didn't go to Gabby and say, hey, I heard you're
'Cause
voting
he's
for me.
smart.
Because he's smart. Most people get so upset and they go to that person and say, hey, I heard you're voting for me, and that person's the one that told me.
100%.
Christian doesn't say anything.
That's fantastic.
It could have
Yeah.
backfired on Davey, though.
The thing that like confuses me a little bit is if you have the idea and in your gut feeling you want to tell someone because, like Davey said, having Christian around is a shield for him because
Yeah.
Christian is still going to be the threat. No one will really look at Davey. I understand that. And if you're trying, and if you tell him in the hopes of trying to save your game, why wouldn't, like you were saying, Mike, why wouldn't you push for it? Why wouldn't you make sure that an idol is being played? And then in the end, I'm sure we'll get to this, why do you vote for him?
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
I mean, maybe he did just want the idol to be flush, and maybe he still wanted to stay in good graces with Christian because he knew he had an idol. He knew he was going to play it.
I wanted him.
Maybe.
I still wanted him to push harder because I thought that was a perfect move on his part. I wanted him to push harder, but what the fans really want to know is, if you were single, Paige, Alec, Michael, Ken, or Joe.
Are you guys kidding me?
Yes.
These are like the four.
I'm not making this up.
Oh my God.
It is true. I'm looking at it right
I'm
now.
stressed.
I can't confirm.
I'm stressed even thinking about it because I don't know if I can pick between those. Who are they? Michael?
Oh, sorry.
Alec?
Michael, Alec, Ken, or Joe.
Okay, so Ken's my number one, I think.
There you go.
I think you guys, it's too hard.
It's just a date. You don't have to rate them all.
Oh,
Ken.
Ken.
Good.
Ken for sure. Well, Ken's like marriage. It depends on like if I want to just like date them or like marry them or like
Yeah.
Well,
the whole
all right.
situation.
All right.
Ken is like a marriage material guy. Michael's like someone I would just like want to have fun with for a while.
Wow.
You know?
I just want to give a shout out to DOHC323 in the chat saying Davey told Christian about the vote jury management.
Right.
Do we think that could have been jury
Oh,
management?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because he didn't push hard enough because he was voting for Christian that night.
Makes sense.
I like the idea of jury management. I do, but that wasn't my gut instinct.
No.
My gut instinct was that Davey was being genuine. And because he's not confident with the rest of that foursome that went on the reward. So if he was doing it for jury management, fine. But in my eyes, what he did was great gameplay in solidifying the true alliance that he thinks he can go forward with and not those other
Which
three.
is?
Well, at least Christian,
Christian.
right? And I think just not those three. He's too worried about the names escaping their former tribal alliance.
I feel like he can go with Nick. Like he feels like he can go with Nick, but then like Nick is in with the rest of the gang, and Davey feels like he's on the outs of that threesome.
This is why this episode is so crazy, because after this, we have no idea who's with who.
Right.
Who's Christian with after this if it's not Davey?
We don't know. If it's not Gabby. I mean, Gabby's gone now, but like Gabby was his girl.
Right. So who's he got now? Because he's had Allison's name on his lips. The rest of them, Nick, obviously he can't trust anybody now because he sees where they all voted.
Exactly.
Davey would be the only one because Davey was telling the truth.
Yeah, that's true.
Big. It's big.
That's big. Well, moving into tribal, I mean, I guess, Nick is openly talking about his frustrations with Christian at tribal. But sometimes I feel like Jeff's questions are, I mean, it is like this, but they're specifically tailored to that person. Like, I felt like right away his question to Gabby, like, Gabby's answer seemed obvious that she was voting for Christian that night. She's saying, I don't need reassurance by people anymore. I came into this game one way and now I'm walking out being like, I'm doing things for me. I'm like, okay, Christian, yeah, if you're smart, we know that you are. You're going to read right into this. Jeff asked these specific questions.
It's just so crazy at how open she was about flipping.
Right.
Yep, and it's every single season, every tribal, especially when you get this late into the game. It's like, do you guys not watch Survivor? Jeff, and I know for a fact, Jeff grills these people. Sometimes these tribals last for a couple hours.
Oh my
we
God.
see very little of it. And I know he grills them to the ends of the earth. You cannot give up information.
Yes.
And yet every single tribal, it seems like somebody decides, well, I'm a tribal, now's the time to get on my soapbox and I'm gonna put some people on blast. It's like, you're gonna go back to your village and you still gotta play, and now they all wanna vote you out. Like, what are you doing?
Truth bombs.
I'm going to put some people on blast.
Yeah, it's like, unless you know you're going out and you really want to disrupt something, why? Nick, why?
Why?
Gabby, why?
It's like some people literally go to tribal being like, it's coming out now. Like, can't wait to get to tribal so we can talk about this. I'm like, talk about it back at camp and then don't make us show at tribal.
Reminds me of Jonathan's truth bombs.
Jonathan, you guys.
Love him.
That was last season.
That
seems like so long ago.
Doesn't
really
it?
does.
Yeah.
Wait, who won last season now? I can't even remember.
Wendell.
That's right. Sleeper.
Who was on
to
the
me,
final
Wendell
three?
was a sleeper.
Wendell,
Laurel,
his best
Dominic,
buddy,
and
Dominic. Yeah.
Dominic. You guys, these seasons go by so fast, and then like
Survivor has such
I
a
thought
quick
Dominic
turnaround.
deserved that one. I thought Dominic deserved that one. But anyway.
But anyway,
Sorry.
we need to talk about this later.
Stop blowing people up at tribal. Just chill.
Yeah. Sorry, and then I was
okay?
thinking of before that was like Chrissy and Ben. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Anyway. As you're saying, don't blow people up at tribal.
Go through the past seasons by
Yeah.
who you date the most.
Yeah, exactly. I got one for every season. Obviously, you guys are very invested in my fictional love life. So.
They've got an Excel sheet going with how you've rated the guys. You gotta let sleeping dogs lie.
Exactly.
There's no reason to make a big deal out of anything at tribal.
Right.
You need to answer Jeff's questions very succinctly, very ambiguously, so no one knows. And essentially, I feel like every single answer should allude to, I don't know, Jeff. I think everybody's at risk tonight.
Well, think about
That's
what Angelina said. She's like, well, you know what? I don't think everybody's a
Yeah,
threat.
not
You're
everybody's equal.
You're not
Wha-
equal? You're not a threat? I mean, she's a threat, but not in the sense of like if she got to the final three, I don't think she's winning. And she thinks that she can persuade herself to win.
No.
Well, I guess it depends
I
on
don't
who she's
think
against.
so.
It depends
Okay.
on who she's against, and it depends on her jury. Because I've had.
Let me eat my words.
Let me say this.
Let me eat my words for a second. I think it depends on who she's against. Okay, I don't think she necessarily has the potential to win against many of the players, but I do think. I mean, she's very persuasive, but it very much depends on who she's against. But I don't think she's as much of a threat as most of these people.
See, I feel like looking at the bigger picture, she doesn't seem like she's much of a threat. But then if she were in the final three, I feel like depending, like you're saying, Paige, depending on who she's against, and I've said this before, she speaks very well. She's a very good speaker. And it depends on her jury too. Will people actually listen to her and be like, okay, yeah, I can give you credit for that? Or will they just roll their eyes like they've kind of done all season?
She has gotten off the bottom multiple times.
My gut instinct is if she turned into her like persuasive self at the final tribal, they would not be having it. I think it would irk more people than it would bring her to
think
to
about
her
like
side.
the four of us with Timothy. Like 3 out of the 4 of us can't stand Angelina. Like think about that in like the scope of America or like the tribal council that will be voting against her.
Everybody in the chat agrees with us and not Tim.
Well, sorry, Tim.
He's voted out, so.
Well, anyway, so basically, they make the votes, right? We know that Gabby's voting for Christian. And then we get back, and Jeff says, I'm about to read the votes. If anybody has a hidden immunity idol and they'd like to play it, now would be the time to do so. And Christian hesitates, and we almost think for a second that he's not playing his idol.
And we're screaming while we're watching and annoying everybody else in the studio.
We are screaming.
We're freaking out.
Paige and I were standing. We couldn't even like sit down because it was such a good edit in the sense that will he, won't he?
Yeah, and everybody knew that he had the idol, and he kind of says, Jeff says, all right, and then he goes, wait. I'm still thinking. I'm not sure. And then he looks around. He looks at everybody. He looks straight at Gabby in the eyes. And that was the telltale sign for him that he needed to play the idol in my eyes.
But hang on, because he had looked at her earlier, too.
Yes.
Like a couple minutes earlier, and she did.
Look at
It
him.
was a terrible look back from her, a terrible response.
She went-
But what I loved about it was that it was a gut response. She couldn't control it.
You're right.
It was great. She couldn't look at him, away, back, away, nothing like that.
Because normally they would be having their normal banter, like it's gonna be
Something.
fine, like it's gonna be, you know, like
Good.
yeah.
Nothing. She's a terrible actress.
Right. Sorry, Gabby. I mean, she's a technical writer. What can we expect from her?
it's
You know.
fine.
But yeah, it's like.
But one of the best idol reveals.
Yes.
What tension, what a turn and build.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
I'm so
and then
glad
for
he played
him to
it.
take a little check of everybody, I felt it. Like I felt everybody else there, their hearts sink like, oh damn.
Shoot.
He's gonna do it.
You can see his brain working.
Love
like he's
it.
making this calculation of
Oh,
do I need to
yeah.
play this or not? And he said, I'm gonna decide when I get there. So thank God he played it because he had 5 of the.
Five. He had 5 of the votes going
5 of the
towards
votes.
him.
And
That's
then
right.
Christian voted for Allison. And then Mike and Angelina voted for Gabby because Gabby was their contingency plan.
That was the contingency, yeah.
Because they knew that he had the idol. So they were like, well, we'll just flush it and then we'll get Gabby out. I think it is funny that right when Allison got a vote, Gabby turns to her and says, I'm so sorry, Allison.
So
That
obvious.
was like, wow. I mean, at that point, too, she didn't know she was going home.
Yeah. Right.
So you were really cutting ties with Christian. I mean, you're really throwing it all out on the table right there.
Yeah. She might not have gone home. And then, I mean,
Yeah.
Christian would have found out she voted for him anyways, but it would have been
Sure.
a really hard line in the sand there.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say something that you were saying earlier, Paige, and I honestly would have been okay. I would have liked to see this is if Gabby didn't go home to see the outcome of what would have happened to their relationship
Yeah.
back at camp for next episode.
Exactly.
That would've
You
been
thought
really
that Allison
interesting.
was going home, didn't you, at the end?
I did, and,
yeah.
and that is exactly what I was going to say. This goes back to what we talked about, that if Davey had been more forward
Mm-hmm.
and put more pressure on Christian and just more outward, like, this is what's happening, we got to get together, maybe Allison would have gone home. Or maybe they really could have concocted something to get a bigger threat out, potentially.
Who's bigger threat than Christian?
But
No,
you're
no,
saying from
bigger threat than
Christian's,
Gabby.
Oh,
from
okay.
Christian's standpoint. Yeah, we don't need Gabby out right
'Cause
now.
He didn't care. He's using his idol, but he didn't vote for Gabby, right? He didn't care about her going home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough. If Davey had flipped over to Allison, I think a bigger power move.
What do you guys think about everybody thinking Allison is such a huge threat right now? Is it just physical or?
I don't. To be perfectly honest, I don't really understand why they see her. I mean, she's played a good game, but I don't see why she is perceived as like this big threat.
Yeah.
She won the first immunity challenge. I don't know if it's the fact that she kind of like has been on the bottom a lot recently and has somehow escaped elimination
I
week
just don't
after
see
week.
her making big moves.
No, I think it keeps getting carried over week to week
Yeah.
because her name is constantly brought up.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right, she's not crazy performing. A couple of people talking about that it would have been a tie potentially. I agree, it could have potentially been a tie, but then I think Gabby still goes home because all that alliance that wanted Christian, I think would switch to Gabby.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because I think that they saw at that point that Gabby is not good to play with.
Right.
So
Absolutely, especially she's blowing up people at tribal like that.
Blowing
Like,
it up.
what are you doing?
But then blowing it up at camp too, like
Yep.
making it all about herself. Though I think that's part of her problem as well. But yeah, Angelina and Mike really kind of dominated this then because they made sure that Gabby went home instead of Allison.
But I don't
That's
think.
right.
Well, I don't know. Like you were saying, that was their contingency plan. I don't know if they were like really hoping for Gabby to go home.
Right, but it could have been a contingency plan on anybody else because they knew Christian had the idol and they knew that he would most likely play it, and they were flushing it out.
And doesn't that even speak that much more to how Gabby should have stuck with Christian? None of those other people wanted you around.
Right.
They didn't want you in the alliance. It was real. It wasn't even a discussion. It was like, cool, if he plays his idol, we'll just vote Gabby.
Right.
Whoa. And she
Yeah.
kind of instigated a lot of the vote against Christian this episode, and immediately they turned on her.
That's
she
a
was
great
nothing.
point. Yeah.
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 Terrible gameplay.
That's a great point. What do you guys
Thanks.
think? Sorry, I'm just like, like you think about all these things like in hindsight and you're like, dang,
Sure.
like they could have done this, they could have done this, and it's like, I would be looking back at my gameplay like, what the heck just happened?
There was a great comment in their chat. I'm so sorry I didn't catch whoever commented it, but shout out to whoever said this in our chat. It was just like, how many lives does Christian have in this game?
How many lives?
He can keep going. I want him to find an idol next week.
Yeah.
I think he can too. He's so crafty. I love it.
The producers probably
week,
want him to win too.
Yeah. Well, the producers are already thinking. I mean, you want to do an early prediction?
Yeah.
Early prediction.
Yeah, let's do prediction.
We don't know what the next season is. It's announced, but do we know the theme yet?
No.
Because if we don't, Christian's on it.
Like another.
Christian's on it. Christian's on it, just like my main man Russell, who came like 2 or 3 in a row. Right? Remember Russell came back for Heroes versus Villains?
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "You're a villain? Like, who are you?"
Nobody
because
they hadn't
they
seen
didn't
the
see the
season.
season yet. Christian's back next time, and those people have no clue what they're in for.
But see, the thing.
Oh, because they haven't seen Christian play yet.
And
But see,
he's got a
like
face
millennials
tattoo.
versus Gen X when they
And he's got a face tattoo, and he's bulked up in the meantime.
that'd be
he
so
bulked
funny.
up from going to Ponderosa.
Yup.
Oh my god. That would be so good. I want to do another second chance because I feel like the last couple seasons we keep talking about people that we want to like have a second chance. But we don't know if he wins.
We got a couple of predictions coming through
What are they?
in the chat. One of your boyfriends is going to be on the next season.
Who?
It doesn't matter. Just a Paige crush will be on next season.
What?
I could see Alec. I could see Alec.
Really?
I could see Alec coming back in a future season. I feel like
Ken won't come back because he was on the final 3. Or maybe he would still, but I don't think he was like enough of like a good player. Like he was a great player, but he didn't give enough personality, I don't think,
I was
in
gonna
order
say,
to win.
people who make it to the end, to have come back.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like look at the lady that won 3 times, Sandra.
Oh, Sandra. Yeah, Sandra.
Like she was back constantly, or twice or whatever. But yeah, I don't know.
Oh, you know what they need to do?
What?
And I say this with all love because I'm a super nerd. They need to do like nerds versus something, and it just be like Cochran, Christian,
Yes!
just like this like they're all on an island, just like staring at each other, working stuff out in their head, like barely
Yeah.
speaking.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it.
That would be
I
fun.
love it.
Nerd-
Spencer, Kagayan.
Yes.
Nerds versus like beauties, but not brains versus beauties. But
That was
something
a
like
Yeah.
great
let's do
theme,
brains
though.
versus bronze versus beauties again.
Sure.
I did love that.
I do like
theme.
those seasons.
great.
They're
Yeah,
fun. Well, this season has proved to be much better than we all initially thought. Great. It's been going great. I can't wait for the next couple episodes. Anyway, should we get into our
MVP?
MVP? Our
Yes.
special
Sounds
segment? Okay. I'm interested to see who you guys voted for.
I was about to pull a Timothy and just be like, where is my theme music?
Where's my music? All right. Vote number 1.
Nerds versus jocks. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nerds versus
Eric.
jocks.
That's right.
There you go, Eric. Davey, vote number
All right.
1. Vote number 2. Angelina,
Ooh.
vote number 3. Davey. Okay, let me just say, this was so hard for me to write. This like took every fiber of my being to write
Tim-
this.
Tim
Tim is
here.
just cheering right
Oh,
now.
he is.
Okay, I voted Angelina because first of all, she won the reward challenge. She did really well in it. Second of all, she was on the contingency plan to get Gabby out, and she like came up with this to get, and that's the person that got out. I think I had another reason, but I'm forgetting because I'm like so mad that I voted for Angelina.
No, here's the thing. This is something that I love about Survivor is that there are contestants whose portrayal we just don't necessarily agree with and we get frustrated by, but we can acknowledge a good gameplay.
Yeah.
We can acknowledge good moments, and that's the great thing about this show.
Yeah.
Going on to Davey.
Yeah, going on to Davey.
The correct answer.
Almost unanimous.
All right.
No, I think Davey is doing a very great gameplay. He is really watching out for him right now. He is making smart moves, but not overly aggressive moves that could come back to bite him in the butt.
Sure.
100%. I'm not done watching Christian play this game. Davey's the reason why he's still here.
Yep.
And to your point, Veronica, I love that he's building his resume subtly, quietly. No one is like, Davey is the reason Christian did. No.
Yeah.
It's still chill.
Yeah.
So it's a great move for him to bring back at the end.
And it's true. Kristen would have had no idea that even anybody was gunning for him tonight had it not been for Davey. So
Very true.
That's
Yeah.
right. And his like amazing eyes looking around and just like
Yes.
working it out.
You killed it, Christian, as always. Your girlfriend's charming. You're adorable. We love you. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Great episode.
You guys, you want to do some predictions?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Go, you guys.
Sorry, I was thinking the predictions we did before. Okay, my prediction, I kind of mentioned this earlier.
And
But
now, your AfterBuzz
I think-
TV.
Spooky. It's so spooky.
I think that Kara is going to go very far because even we saw next week, there were 3 names thrown out right away. Allison, Christian, and Nick. Kara is in on all of these, and nobody's throwing out Kara's name. I think that she has the potential to make it to the final 3. I think maybe she would even win another immunity because she's strong. She's in it. So Kara's got my vote right now.
All right.
I think if something drastically changes in the next couple episodes, which it could very well happen because it's Survivor, I think right now Mike, Kara, and Davey are all in very nice, cozy spots. I think as much as I would love Christian to win because he's such a great player, he's such a good person on the show, I think he might be one of those people that sticks around, is the last jury member. I don't know what it is. I feel like everyone does realize we want to get Christian out, but I feel like they'll try and get him out at the very last minute to where it's like, I'm safe, but he's gone.
Unless he
kind
wins
of thing.
immunity again.
Unless he wins immunity.
Oof. I want to predict that he finds the new hidden immunity idol and he gets to go back to back. That's what I really want to have happen. But if I'm going to give a bigger prediction for next episode, just based on the coming attraction, I think the whole thing just gets blown up. There's like 0 alliances and everything reforms. I think it's going to be completely different next week.
To your point, Mike is flying very under the radar as well at this point.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, I'm excited. You guys are 2 more, not 2 more episodes, but 2 more weeks. So, like, the final episode will be a 2-hour episode and then the live finale.
It's so good.
Oh my God.
The season's
can't
been
wait.
great.
I love this season.
It's so unpredictable, and I love it.
The characters are awesome. You guys. Well, that was Survivor Season 37, Episode 12. So smart, they're dumb. You guys, thanks for joining us this Wednesday and every Wednesday. We love having you. Make sure to give us a like, subscribe, let us know how we're doing in the comments. And I am Paige Bonanno. You guys can find me all over social media at Paige Bonanno.
I'm Veronica Valencia. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at it's me, Veronica_V.
Guys, this is Mike Thieling. I love my 2 co-hosts here. We missed Tim.
Yes.
You can find me everywhere at Mike Thieling. And just a quick shout out because I've had my computer. Thanks to everybody in the chat. We had almost 50 people watching us.
gosh.
Thank you so much for hanging out and chatting with us.
Thank
We
you.
love you guys.
We love you guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.